U.S. and India trade talks may be entering a new phase. Washington is signaling flexibility on a controversial tariff linked to Russian oil. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says there is a path to ease tariffs on India. Bessent has signaled that the United States could consider rolling back the punitive 25% tariffs imposed on India for buying Russian crude oil. Bessent claims that this is because New Delhi has cut back on Russian crude purchases. Speaking to Politico on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the 25% tariff imposed on India could eventually be removed. The levy was introduced after India increased imports of discounted Russian oil following the Ukraine war. He said the measure was designed to pressure New Delhi, and it has worked. Bessent further said that the European Union has refrained from imposing tariffs on India because it wants to sign a big trade deal with New Delhi. Bessent also called Europe stupid for purchasing refined energy products from India. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has arrived in India for what she calls the mother of all deals. She's in New Delhi to sign a free trade pact with India. The deal will open the way for reduced tariffs on European cars and wine and an expanded market for Indian electronics, textiles and chemicals. But why has the United States claimed that the tariffs were a success? The US had imposed the tariffs in two tranches, while 25% duties were slapped on India over alleged trade imbalances. Another 25% were placed on India for buying Russian oil. Bessent says the purchases of Russian oil by Indian refineries have collapsed in recent months. He called this a clear success of U.S. trade pressure. Before the war, Russian crude made up just 2 to 3% of India's refining mix. After sanctions, that share rose to the high teens as discounts boosted refiner margins. But now Washington says those flows are falling again. The issue is now tied to a bigger geopolitical push. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, in a post on social media platform X, said Donald Trump has cleared a bipartisan bill on Russian sanctions. The proposal would allow the U.S. to penalize countries including India, China and Brazil for buying discounted Russian oil. Washington argues the revenue helps finance Moscow's war in Ukraine. But you see, here is a reality check from market data. Market trackers offer a cautionary note. Data from Kepler shows India is still expected to import between 1.1 million barrels to 1.3 million barrels per day of Russian oil this month. Imports dropped from about 2 million barrels per day to nearly 1.1 to 1.3 million by January this year. India's crude oil imports from Russia have indeed fallen down nearly 40% from their mid-2025 peak. While the decline is significant, Russia remains India's largest oil supplier. Analysts say Russian crude flows are hard to stop without direct government intervention. India also continues to source oil from West Asia, the United States and West Africa. India has also pushed back, calling U.S. pressure unfair and unjustified. New Delhi insists this is an adjustment, not a strategic shift. India maintains its energy policy is driven by national interest and affordability. As the world's third largest oil importer, India emerged as the biggest buyer of Russian crude after Western nations stepped away. Now with tariffs on the table and talks ongoing, the signal from Washington is clear. Compliance could bring relief, but for now, the pressure stays.